I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Monday, June 2nd. A second man was pronounced dead in connection with a double shooting in Dorchester on May 24th. Boston police responded to 38 Franklin Hill Avenue at about 9:45 that night, found two people suffering from gunshot wounds. Both were taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. An adult male was pronounced dead. The other victim was hospitalized in critical condition for a week, but later succumbed to his injuries. Police have identified the victims as 36-year-old Walter Wilkins from Quincy and 66-year-old Anthony McIntosh of Dorchester. Wilkins died the night of the shooting, May 24th. McIntosh passed away from his injuries last Wednesday night. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu described the shooting as incredibly disturbing and said those responsible must be brought to justice. So far, no arrests have been made. There is an investigation underway in Milton, where law enforcement was seen going in and out of a home there yesterday. Norfolk County DA's office has released very little information other than to say state police detectives responded to Central Avenue with Milton police for an unattended death. State police deferred to the DA's office. A medical examiner was on scene yesterday where yellow police tape was surrounding a home. Further information has not yet been released, including any details about who died or how. The investigation remains active and ongoing. 7 new patrol officers in Quincy are starting police academy training today. The new officers were sworn in during a ceremony last Thursday at Quincy City Hall. Chief Mark Kennedy reflected on his 27 years of service to the department in welcoming the new officers. The new officers are Thomas Lee, Ryan Campbell, Kareem El Dayasti, Andrew Kelly, John Reed, Devlin St. Marie, and Gregory Rice, who was a lateral transfer and will not need academy training. The new Quincy budget that begins in July includes funding for 20 new patrol officers. Quincy City Council will be holding a public hearing tonight regarding a proposal to amend the city's housing development zone and plan. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch is proposing that amendment that would add certain parcels on Granite Street in Quincy Center to the new zone. That would allow for more affordable housing developments. The first zone in the city was designated along East Howard Street in Quincy Point in 2017. That allowed for the development of the Watson, a mixed-income apartment complex. The designation allows the mayor to negotiate tax exemptions for certified housing development projects. The public hearing will be held tonight at 6:30 at Quincy City Hall. Well, the city of Quincy kicked off Pride Month yesterday with a ceremony unveiling the Quincy Pride flag at the United First Parish Church in Quincy Center. Members of the Quincy LGBTQ Commission and the Quincy Interfaith Network unfurled the flag at the entrance to the church and offered a blessing. The Quincy Choral Society performed 2 songs, and the commission presented their first ever Flag Raisers Awards to Quincy Access Television, Boston Scientific, and the Quincy chapter of the Greater Boston PFLAG for their efforts at supporting the LGBTQ community in Quincy. City councilors Nina Liang, Richard Ashe, and Dan Minton, school committee member Courtney Perdios, and State Senator John Keenan also attended the ceremony. The annual Quincy Pride Festival will be held Sunday at Pageant Fields. Well, Massachusetts could be facing billions in lost federal revenue and heightened economic risk under the second Trump administration, according to a budget expert who spoke to lawmakers last week. But he emphasized that a broad economic downturn could deal the hardest blow. Testifying before the House Committee on Federal Funding, Policy, and Accountability, Doug Howgate, president of the Massachusetts Taxpayers Foundation, laid out the scale of the state's dependence on federal money, about $25 billion each year. That includes about $14 billion in Medicaid funds, as well as transportation and water infrastructure funding, and billions more in federal grants administered through state agencies. President Trump has targeted or promised to come down on areas that Massachusetts specifically has a vested stake in, such as higher education and research funding, where the Bay State has a nationally competitive advantage. In other cases, like Medicaid spending reductions, the president and Republican-led Congress's policies are likely to affect every state. Trump and Republicans in Congress say their shift in national policy will put the country on a prosperous path, but the view for many at the State House, where Democrats rule, is different. The U.S. House voted last week to cut the health insurance program by nearly $700 billion, which state officials have warned could put Massachusetts in jeopardy of losing more than $1 billion annually, with 250,000 residents at risk of losing coverage between MassHealth and subsidized policies at the Health Connector. Even with the policy dangers, Howgate warned that a possible economic downturn could hit the state budget even harder. The state's $8 billion stabilization fund has dramatically grown over the past 5 years. Legislative leaders have been reluctant to tap into it even during the pandemic. Check of business news. This morning, stocks are mixed. The Dow is up 54, the Nasdaq dropped 62, and the S&P fell a fraction. Asian shares sank today. Oil prices jumped as trade tensions and the Russian-Ukraine conflict ratcheted up geopolitical uncertainty. The dollar fell. The euro is higher. Oil at $62 a barrel. In sports, the Red Sox beat Atlanta 3-1. They are back home tonight at 7 o'clock against the Angels. Forecast today from the National Weather Service: partly sunny and a high of 73. For tonight, partly cloudy and a low around 50. Tomorrow, mainly sunny, high of 78. For Wednesday, sunny and quite warm, with a high of 88. Even hotter on Thursday. Could have our first 90-degree day of the season Thursday, with sunshine and a high 91. For the boater, waves about a foot, a southwest wind at 5 to 10 knots, and a high tide 5:41 p.m. Sunrise at 5:09, sets at 8:14. I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Monday, June 2nd.